So today, another lesson brought to you by Mr. Mefford, aka Cool Math Teacher, aka 6th grade math at Milton Union. Today what we're going to do is we're going to look at area of a trapezoid. So I mentioned yesterday about the area of a trapezoid lesson on con not to do. So I want to make sure you guys understand kind of how to do a trapezoid, how to find the area of a trapezoid, because it's just a little different than what we've done before. It's kind of like combining both of the area of a parallelogram and area of a triangle into finding the area of a trapezoid. So just a couple notes about area of a trapezoid. So trapezoids have two different sides. Made a mistake. So instead of two different side bases, it's two different sizes. So like if you were to look at this one right here at the top, this is my demonstration one, is many times you'll have a area of a base that kind of looks like base size of this right here. Okay, so my first base is this. It's going to look a little smaller. And then I'm going to have a bottom base that's going to be a little bigger sometimes. Okay, they're going to look different, but if you notice, they're not all the same. Like in a parallelogram, they were the same size, but in a trapezoid, A is going to be different than B. Okay. And then the other thing to mention is trapezoids have one set of parallel sides. So the bases, I'm gonna highlight them or color them in green. So the base right here is parallel to this base right here. It means like if I was to extend it, out or extend it out this way and extend it out here, extend it out all the way out here, the lines would never touch. Remember, that's what we learned last year in 5th grade, that parallel lines never ever touch. They only have one set, like a set of two, right? These two lines. These lines over here that I'm going to color in red, okay, these lines that are red, they would touch. Like if I was to extend it out up here and I extend it out up here, do you see how they would cross? Right? So they would cross, so that means that they're not parallel. Okay, so one set of parallel sides. So that's why the area of a trapezoid looks a little different. So if I should go down to my next note, so let's see. If you look at my next note, I'm going to give you the area of a formula for a trapezoid. Okay, so the formula for a trapezoid kind of looks like this. So it's area equals, so base 1 plus base 2. Let me erase that for you. So base 1 plus base 2. Then I'm going to divide that by 2. And then I'm going to multiply by the height, which if you see right here, my height is my line that's perpendicular, right? Meets at a 90-degree angle. So I'm going to make a couple notes. So here's kind of how you solve them. So you add the heights together. Divide by 2. And then last, you multiply by the height. Okay? So just 3 simple steps. You add the heights together, you divide that number by 2, and then last you multiply by the height. Okay? So I'm going to do a couple examples. Let's start over with the one over here. Okay? So I have a trapezoid that looks like this, right? So I'm gonna label it a little bit before we get started. So I'm gonna make it a little bigger so you can see a little better. So here's base 1. Here's base 2. And then right there in the middle is what I call my height. Okay, so let's write out the formula. So area equals base 1 plus base 2, divide by 2, and then multiply by the height. So let's plug in our numbers. So if I was to plug in our numbers, area equals, so base 1 is 4, so 4 plus base 2 is 10, divide by 2, and then we're going to multiply by the height, which is, in this case, 8. So I'm going to rewrite it. And some of you think like, oh, I'm Mr. Smarty Pants. I'm going to do this all in my head without writing anything like Mr. Mefford does. No. By writing this out, it's going to really help you. So please make sure you have paper and writing it out. You can use a calculator to help you. Don't get me wrong. I want you to do that. But I want you to still write it out. A calculator is a tool to help you solve. So is paper and pencil. And I want you to use all three together when you're solving. So I'm going to add the heights together, the bases together like I mentioned before. So 4 plus 10 is 14. So 14 divided by 2 multiplied by 8. So what's 14 divided by 2? Good job, kiddos. It's 7. So then 7 times 8. Okay, what's 7 times 8? Exactly. 56. Now remember, I have a label, right? So it's centimeters, and it's area, so it's squared. So the area of this trapezoid, this whole entire trapezoid, is 56 centimeters squared. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Now, some of you are like, man, this looks really different, right? Are you sure that this is a trapezoid, Mr. Mefford? And I would say yes, because if you remember before, I told you a trapezoid has one set of parallel sides. And if you look at this one, this is a base, this is a base, and they're parallel. If I was to extend these lines over here, this one and this one, they would not be parallel anymore. Okay? They're not parallel because if I extend them up and I extend them all the way up, they would touch somewhere up here. Okay? So just know this is a trapezoid because it has one set of parallel sides. Now this is different because this is a right-angled trapezoid, or what we call a right trapezoid, because it has a right angle right there, which is 90 degrees. If I remember up here, right, I didn't have a right angle. Okay? I didn't have a right angle. What we call these is an isosceles. So I'm going to scroll down for you so that way you can see it. As my computer froze. So I'm going to go back in. So I'm going to have to exit out of it, go back in. Sorry for the delay, kiddos. Sometimes computers have malfunctions, like I have been all week. All right, so zoom out. So area of a trapezoid. So I mentioned before, let's use blue. So area equals base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 multiplied by height. I'm going to go plug in some numbers. So area equals base 1 is 5 plus my base 2 is 8 divided by 2 multiplied by my, remember, this is not the height. That is not the height. It's not a 90-degree angle. Okay? Has to meet at a 90-degree angle. So my height is 4. So let's add them together. So area equals, so 5 plus 3 is 13. 13 divided by 2 multiplied by 4. So 13 divided by 2 is 6.5. So 6.5 times 4 is, you can use your calculator to help you. Okay, it's 26 meters squared. Right? You add the heights together. You divide by 2, and then you multiply by the height. So remember that as we go through this. So I'm going to give you another example. Okay, let's look at this one. I even gave this example a thumbs up. So area equals base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 multiplied by h. So think about what our bases are. First base, my second base, not baseball. We're talking about math. I know you softball, baseball players are sad. So 15 plus 23 those are my bases, divided by 2, multiplied by my height is 9. So then area equals, well, what's 15 plus 23? Good, 38, divided by 2, multiplied by 9. So I need to divide by 2 next. So area equals, think about what 38 divided by 2 is. Good, 19. So 19 times 9. Okay, well, I'm going to do a little scratch math. I'm not going to use a calculator. 171. So I don't have a label on this one. If you remember back when I said I don't have a label, we always call it units. Okay, units. So this would be 171 units squared. So 171, if this was like drawn out and I filled it in, it would be 171 units to fill in the whole thing, because area is filling it all in, right? Remember that, area is filling it all in. It's like you're painting an object, right? You're painting it, you're filling it in. That's the area. So those were just a couple examples I wanted to give you. I want to go back to this part before I end it. So remember, you have 3 steps. You add the heights together, the bases, sorry. Now I see my mistake, right? Add the bases together. You divide by 2, and then you multiply by the height. So add the bases, divide that number by 2, and then multiply that number by the height. And you're going to get the area of a trapezoid every single time. Okay, so that's kind of like in a nutshell what area of a trapezoid is. Refer back to the other video I posted earlier this week on Monday talking about area of triangles and parallelograms. That will be a good refresher before your quiz test tomorrow. Remember, it's just 12 questions. So practice today. You got a quizzes that you're going to be practicing. I'm going to throw in trapezoids, but I'm also going to have area of triangles and parallelograms in there. So make sure you know all 3 formulas. I'll write them out so that way you can see them on here. So a triangle, that is area equals 1/2 times base times height, or area equals base times height divided by 2. So for a parallelogram, that I misspelled it, area equals, this is the hardest one, base times height. Alright, for the one that I just did, so for a trapezoid, remember it's area equals base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 multiplied by the height. Okay, so let's see if you can do this. It's plugging in numbers. You use your calculator, use your pencil, use your paper, use all 3 tools, and I promise we'll be able to get this together. So have a great day. Can't wait to see you guys and your pets when we go on there. I'm out. Mr. Mefford is out, going to bed. It is late. Hopefully you're already in bed while I'm doing this video. It is approximately 11:30. So thank you for watching. Brought to you by West Milton McDonald's.